Está bien ser tal como Mariana, siempre se sienta como uno más. Sabe que está bueno ser bonito, ser algo bueno, contribuir a estudiar de económica y a la escuela, así que el poco de eso, qué felicidad sentirse bien. Ser socio es más
Okay, you can talk now. I hope. Hopefully it works.
Alright, thank you for bearing with it, people, because audio issues, am I right? They've got to creep in at some point. But without any further delay, let's get right into the run. Nacho, Kirby, take it away, my friends.
Hi, it's me. Advanced games are pretty fun. Yep. This is the third game of the Advanced Trilogy. It's pretty unique in that it just kind of has a tag team mechanic where you pick a lead and a partner character out of 5. Although the full game categories for this game don't go by individual single story. It's more of an overarching file where you can use any character you want as long as you have them unlocked. At the start, we only have Sonic and Tails unlocked though, so we only have 2 options. Sonic as the lead with Tails as the partner, or vice versa. And the goal of this category is to get the best ending, which is self-explanatory, get the best possible ending, and to do that, we need to beat the game. We need to have beaten the game already with all 5 characters unlocked and all 7 Chao. And the primary focus of the routing is focused around getting the Chao. So every world kind of has a hub where you can choose which of the acts to go to in any order, and every zone has 3 acts instead of the usual 2. So Nacho is going to go ahead and start with Act 3 first, and then the order for best ending is to do Act 3, then 2, then 1. So you can see Nacho getting some of the Chao here. There are 10 Chao scattered throughout each zone. This can include the hub, by the way. And yeah, so he has to get, in every zone he has to get all 10 Chao, and after collecting the 10 Chao, he has to find a special key. Each key you get gives you 1 attempt at the special stage of the zone, and clearing that gives you the Chaos Emerald. So you're seeing Nacho use what's called the tag action mechanic, so every time you see the lead character pick up their partner in kind of a little ball, that's him using the R button, holding the R button for 1.5 seconds to charge the tag action. And then after it's charged, you have your character's abilities are limited. You can only jump, you can't spin dash or anything, but once you release it, you use your partner's tag action. And Sonic's is basically the go fast tag action. where he shoots you horizontally with boost mode really quickly. And that's going to be the main tag action used for a lot of the run, not the entire run. There'll be some team swaps, depending on the situation.
Yeah, you are like
you will see Sonic and Tails used here and there.
Yeah, you're also seeing me like pausing and then jumping again. That's the tag jump. For one, since the game actually put when we're using the Sonic tag action, it puts us on actually a speed path, and the speed paths had a tiny hitbox. So for one frame, we can do a double jump basically, and it's going to be used a lot on the run when we have Sonic as a partner.
Yeah, the main intended balancing factor for Sonic's tag action is that it's supposed to suck at vertical mobility, and it still isn't very good at vertical mobility. But the ability to double jump, to do like the exploit to double jump out of your tag action, is still very useful and really mitigates the weakness of having Sonic as your tag partner. Yeah, and you can kind of see a bit of that in this act here. Act 2 is actually a bit more of a vertically oriented stage, so you kind of, and like, Tails can fly as the lead character, but it is slow, so you really want to avoid flying if you can. So like, the opposite team, Sonic and Tails, which is more focused on vertical mobility, is better for this act, but since this full game's runs go by real time, and team swaps do cost a chunk of time, it's not worth swapping to them for the stage alone.
Oops.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, Nacho, you might be muted local on OBS. Just want to flag that to you. In the meantime, while we try and figure that out, and also Kirby seems to have entered the back room, so we are having a time here at Sonic Adventure Marathon. So let me tell you in that time that we are here to support Extra Life and the Children's Miracle Network hospitals. Extra Life is a program of the Children's Miracle Network hospitals with over 50,000 participants. Since its inception in 2008, Extra Lifers from across the globe have raised more than 100 million for local member children's hospitals. What does this money go to? It goes towards funding critical treatments or pediatric medical equipment, making sure that hospitals can provide charitable care to those in need, and provide specialized services not covered by insurance. It helps out tens of thousands of children every week, and it is such a good service and cause to give your hard-earned money for if you are able. Thanks to everyone who has been able to donate so far. We do love you ever so much. And with that, if our audio issues are back, yep, I see Kirby, it is good to go back to the run.
I don't know why I got kicked off, but it happens, I guess. Tech issues. I have no idea when I got kicked off. I was explaining the special key thing, but did you already explain that or no? Okay. Yep, they're auto-scrollers, so there's no way to speed them up, except making sure you don't miss any of the boosts. Which, if you've played the game enough, you generally won't miss them. So, after getting the Emerald, he's going ahead to fight the boss. After Sonic steals that pulley from him. Thanks a lot. I guess it's payback for all the times partner Tails ruined Genesis speedruns in Sonic 2 and 3. And Mania. But yeah, so Gemerald is in this game. This game's technically a sequel to Sonic Battle, and Eggman is trying to use Gemerald for Eggman things basically. And so we're periodically going to be fighting Eggman. Nacho, are you able to unmute your own OBS? I can't hear you.
Things completely swapped. I'm not unmute. Wasn't unmute on OBS. Okay. Now I'm unmute. Okay. Everything is lagging normal.
Was any of my commentary going through or no? I can't tell.
Okay. Yeah. Hopefully. Anyways, boss battles. We have to fight against Eggman. And after fighting against Eggman, we're going to the next zone. When it one thing I'm gonna do a lot is basically soft reset. When I soft reset, that is a little bit faster than actually going to force swap characters manually.
Yes, team swaps generally cost time, and if it didn't go through last time, I'll mention again that there are stages where the team we're using is not optimal, but because team swapping does cost time, it's not worth it in some cases. The game just saved after showing the Sunset Hill Zone text, and that is a very nice excuse for us to do a team swap here to Sonic and Tails. Tails' tag action, everyone has a different tag action based off of whether you use it on the ground or the air. And Tails' tag action on the air is basically him just flying while carrying your lead. His ground tag action is very interesting though. Like you've seen Nacho just use it a few times where Tails just yeets Sonic up and to the side really high. So it is a fantastic ability for vertically oriented stages. And this stage, Sunset Hill 3, is basically a giant block of a maze. And so Tails' tag action is very handy for the stage, and this isn't the fastest team for the stage in general, but the Chow are all kind of all over the place. Like there's two near the bottom of the stage vertically, and there's one at the very top of the stage. And yeah, sure, Tails and Sonic, with Tails as the lead, can fly, but flying is very limited and slow, so you really want to avoid it if you can. There's another reason why we're using Sonic and Tails though, because there are 3 stages in the game where you fight Gemerald, returning from Sonic Battle, and in those stages, you have to beat those stages with Sonic as the lead in order to unlock the corresponding character. And this is one of those stages, where we unlock and Knuckles if we beat the stage with Sonic as the lead. Yeah, I think this is the last Chao on the top, and then we're gonna have a Gemerald fight. Which takes 2 hits to kill on easy mode. We do speedrun in easy mode. Because it's faster and removes a chunk of luck from the game. Doesn't really change the overall course of the speedrun. Flow of the speedrun. Besides just removing luck. Or reducing luck, I should say. But yeah, so the game just saved. It's just saved after the whiteout, but before the cutscene of Knuckles coming down. And that cutscene takes a while, so it's a lot faster just to reset. And conveniently enough, it's a really nice excuse to do a team swap because it's faster to reset anyways. So it's pretty much a free team swap, and we're gonna go straight back to Tails and Sonic, who is gonna be the premier team for this zone again. So lots of horizontal movements. Yeah, so Act 2, we're going to be choosing to do Act 2 last, similarly for the main reason being special key locations again. Because we want to make sure that the last Chao we get is in such a spot where no matter which of the 50/50 sets of special keys we get, we're guaranteed to get one of them. And we'll get into a bit more of that when we actually do Act 2. For now, he's just blitzing through and collecting the Chao. And the area with these moving rectangular platforms is pretty scary because they can squish you. And Advance is kind of notorious for its crushers. Not as bad about pitfalls as Advance 2 though, but the crushers are sketchy. And yeah, again, there can be Chao in the overworld as well. Not every zone's overworld has a Chao, but this is one of those that does. Doing a quick tag off of the half pipe to jump over the first third of the stage, and it is going to be a Chao. He's going to roll up a wall to get pretty quickly. Again, vertical mobility is not this team's strong suit. So Nacho's taking a top route up here after this last Chao. It loses roughly 7 to 10 seconds compared to going straight to the end. And there is one of the 2 special key sets does have a special key at the very end of the stage on the way. But if you don't get that set, then you're kind of screwed. So Nacho is taking a top route here where it loses a bit of time, but it guarantees that he can pass through a path where there is a special key no matter which of the 2 patterns he gets. So you're seeing the pattern here where it would have been faster for him to go straight to the end instead of taking the top route. But if that special key did not spawn, then you would have to reset basically. If he just went straight to the end. Right, another special stage, number 2.
So yeah, auto-scroller again. We have time for memeing around, right? So yeah, one of the things the special stage we can do is taking the boost is going to give you double the rings, and sometimes there is packs that are shining rings that give you 5 rings. So if we have basically if we use the boost we're gonna have 10 rings. That's about it.
Yeah, it's really hard to see the special rings. Like they have like a little red tint and flash, but like unless you're really unless you like pause buffer a lot, you're not going to be able to see them, or unless you just memorize them. But you don't really need them unless you're trying to ring attack, though. But you do. It is nice to know where they are, just in case you get hit somewhere. And getting hit's like actually really bad because you get iframes, but you can't collect rings during your invincibility frames. So not only would you lose rings from getting hit, but you also just lose rings during your iframes because you can't get them. But yeah, these are the black bombs that Nacho mentioned. They give 5 rings each, so and you can bounce off of them. And the layouts of these special stages are laid out such that you're supposed to bounce off of them to get more rings, which is kind of neat. But as far as auto scrollers go. But yeah, so straight on to the boss. This boss is Eggman kind of rolling around in a ball. And your Tails has a pretty nice moveset at his base kit for handling this boss. He has a really fast tail swipe, and his flight also has a really big hitbox, so both of those are just really handy for hitting Eggman as he rolls around. But like how far he gets rolled back is random though, so you kind of have to improvise based off of how far he rolls back. Ideally, he just keeps rolling back to the bottom left over and over. And if you miss a hit, then things kind of fall apart and he'll go to the right.
I'm having a moment with this boss. So that's Sunset Hell. So again, it's gonna be a team swap. A convenient team swap in between zones, and Ocean-based Zone 3 is very, very vertically oriented. So you're gonna be seeing he's gonna be swapping to a team with Tails' tag action, but since we have Knuckles unlocked, he's actually going to be using Knuckles and Tails. The main reason for this is that there is a Chao in Act 1 that's blocked by power barriers, and power barriers can only be destroyed if you have power moves, which means you need to have Knuckles in your team to do that. And our only option for teams that we can use that also has good vertical mobility would be Knuckles and Tails, because we don't have Amy or Cream unlocked yet. So Tails' tag action still remains the same, and you can kind of see what Nacho was mentioning before about how what matters is teams that have the same partner play pretty much the same way for the most part.
So like Knuckles and Tails plays 90% the same as Sonic and Tails. The main difference being Knuckles can jump and glide, while Sonic has boost mode and tricks. But the core aspect of the team is that you have Tails as your attack partner, you can reach vertical heights, and fly with Tails with his air tag action. Yeah, and this is just a pretty good team in general. We're not gonna have access to boost mode because we don't have Sonic, but like there aren't very many opportunities for boost mode to be applicable anyways, so it doesn't matter much because of all the back and forth we have to do. So taking a bit of a detour because there's a Chao all the way back here, and this is a power barrier right here. You can't break it unless you have Knuckles in your team. So you're actually supposed to like climb up along the left side, but it's a lot faster to like go up and around on the right and then fall down to the left to get both of these Chao. Oh no. Well, that's a shame. But good thing the game warped us back up here, halfway across the stage. So where that death happened was basically the very beginning of the stage, right above it. But it saves a chunk of time to hit the checkpoint, then fall, get the second and first Chao backwards, and then take a death to warp back up, death warp back up. So you're supposed to be riding this platform all the way around, kind of like an auto-scroller. And then we're pretty much using this nice shortcut with Tails' tag action to skip pretty much the last start of the stage, while also getting the last Chao in the stage. The hub is also like super linear. You can tag from the right side, bottom right. So you can. This is a very linear hub world, so there isn't really. If you want to do any of the stages out of order, then you have to really go back and forth a lot because there aren't really. It's not a very open hub. But thankfully, Act 3, the special key location in Act 3 works out such that we can just do Act 3 last. Because no matter which the special keys you get, it is on the way. It is in both patterns has a special key between the last Chao and the end of the stage. But for now, we're actually in Act 2, and we're seeing a lot of vertical mobility, movement again. The layout of this stage is pretty much you go really, really, really high up, and then you fall all the way down, and you go all the way up again. And there is actually water in this stage too, because it's called Ocean Base, so it has water. And there is an entire underwater segment in this zone, in this stage. But the developers put like a really nice shortcut if you keep an eye out for it to just completely skip it. So that's convenient. Yep. So right before these cannons was the big shortcut through the fake wall. Going up and up and up and up. So Sonic and Tails is strictly better for Act 2 and 3. But again, team swapping does cost time, and we had to use Knuckles for Act 1, so we're better off just sticking to this team for the rest of Ocean Base, because you'd have to make a really big backtrack to switch teams if you wanted to. So that's Act 2. So Act 3's layout is actually kind of the opposite. It's still a vertical stage, but instead of climbing, we're going to do a lot of falling down. But again, Tails' attack action is still very nice, because there are a few spots where you do want some of those really big jumps. Such as after getting that Chow. And this is a stage where like most teams can work pretty well, so like it doesn't really matter which team you use, so we might as well just stick to the same team we've been using for the zone. But yeah, you also one of the rare scenarios where we're actually getting speed shoes. So you get the speed shoes pretty frequently in like Sonic 1, Advance 1 and 2. But in 3, you get a lot of tools to go fast without the speed shoes anyways. And since Advance 3 is like pretty heavy on platforming overall, so the speed shoes usually aren't as helpful as one might think. But it is very nice in this zone, in this stage here. It's pretty much for free as well. So, yep, that's the last Chow, and regardless of which of the 2 special key sets we get, it's gonna be pretty much right on the way back to the goal. The other pattern, Nacho got the pattern where it's right before the goal ring. The other pattern would have been above the surface of the water. Doesn't matter. You always get it no matter what, regardless of the 2 patterns.
Yeah, right now we have more special stage gameplay, so of course there's nothing too much to mention, just get the rings, every time it's going to be a little more rings you're going to get, so yeah, if the host has some message, donations, anything to mention, it's a good time.
Yeah, by all means. There is one thing that I would like to remind people. So we are coming to the end of this event. I know it's very sad, but you know, all good things must. But that is not all you will be seeing from Sesa in the coming weeks. In fact, next week we will be having the Sonic Adventure 2 Hero Story Tournament with the Only Cool Characters mod. And for that there is a $4,000 prize pool. It will run from the 22nd to the 28th, and we've got a good lineup of matches for you. So I do hope you'll be sticking around. Thanks as ever to Susie for bringing us the generosity to put this event on, and we're so happy to be organizing it. It's going to be an absolute riot of a time. Honestly, I think, yeah, watching Hero Story Tournament a couple of years ago is one of the biggest contributors to me being a speedrunner today. So, hey, it's worth it, let me tell you. But apart from that, I would like to say thank you to everyone who has donated to this event. The Children's Miracle Network hospitals, which are supported by Extra Life, do so much good work, especially for children in need of assistance with trauma, undergoing surgery, undergoing treatment for cancer, undergoing treatment for diabetes, and in neonatal intensive care units, which, if you remember yesterday, I mentioned being in myself. So, hey, everything I've got to talk about is something that relates to me. So, what does that tell you? Tells you that this is a really important event, at least to me and hopefully to you. So I hope you can feel grateful that you are here, happy about all of the events that we've got going on, because it's a good time. We're having a good time. With that, though, I think it's time to go back to the run. So take it away.
Yeah, so this boss, it has some luck to it. When Eggman falls is random, and when he falls, he can do one of 2 things. Either close his legs, or keep his legs open. No innuendo intended. Tails' flight is really nice because he can usually get a free hit as he ascends back up, as long as your timing is good. Nacho got some really good patterns here, actually. You kind of want Eggman to keep his legs open when he falls, because you can just stand between them and then smack him multiple times. If he keeps his legs closed, you can only get 2 hits in reliably with a damage boost, and it's a lot harder to get those hits. But got a really lucky fight and well-executed fight there, so nice. You take those. So next zone is Toy Kingdom, and every Sonic game is not complete without its insert curse word crapshoot of a casino zone. And this is basically the casino zone of the game. It's not the worst thing in the world, admittedly. It doesn't have like too many like bumpers or things to ruin your day and make you miserable. But it is a very cycle-heavy stage, that very, very cycle-oriented zone overall. And we're doing Act 3 first. This is one of those acts where we fight General at the end. And that also means we get to unlock a character after beating this level, but only if we have Sonic as the lead character. Which, conveniently enough, Sonic and Tails is a very solid team for this stage, so it works out. We didn't talk about tricking much, but like, it's not too prevalent of a mechanic in this game, because in Sonic Advance 2, whenever you hit a spring or a ramp or a hoop, you can trick in one of 4 directions: forward, backwards, down, or up. In this game, tricking is a lot more limited in this game. You can only trick forward, up, or down, and it's also restricted to only Sonic Tails, Tails Sonic, Amy Cream, and Cream Amy. So we did mention how your tag partner makes a bigger difference in how your team plays, a lot more than the lead character, but the lead character still matters, and the moveset can drastically change depending on who your partner is. Sonic Tails and Tails Sonic are like the most vanilla characters you can get. Like Tails Tails when paired with Sonic plays very similarly to classic Tails, and Sonic when paired with Tails plays very similarly to classic Sonic, at least from like Advance 1 and 2. But if you give them any other partner, they will play quite drastically differently. For example, if Tails is paired with Knuckles, he can't fly, but he has Insta-Shield, so that's cool. And he can kind of do like his own really terrible glide. It's a terrible team, you don't do it. But point being, you can get a lot of fancy little gimmicks. Because like pretty much every team is basically its own unique character in this game, which is pretty cool. But yeah, this is the only game in the entire Sonic franchise where Tails can Insta-Shields, so that's really cool. But yeah, so here's the reset coming to skip the cutscene for Amy. Optimally, Amy's a really good character. Nacho is choosing to use Tails and Sonic for next 2 zones, due to personal preference. But Amy Sonic is also a very good option. And you will see Nacho using Amy and Sonic later on in the run anyways. Okay, there is a Hub Chow here that Nacho's gonna grab really quickly before doing 2. And you're going to see what I mean by cycles, because right off the bat, we're going to be blocked by a cycle here. So, crushers and cycles everywhere, all day, every day. The zone does have those like Jack-in-the-Boxes and Nachos bopping off. A lot of people think they're random. They're not. If you look at the color of the diamond, blue means you'll get a spring, red means you'll get a spike. It's not random at all. They're on cycles. That was a close one. The end of the stage has like 3 giant slides that you're supposed to ride down, but you can just fly over all of it with Sonic's tag action. And again, this team is like the best team in the game for raw horizontal mobility because Tails can carry when you do a Sonic tag. Tails can carry all of that speed into his flight, and this is a really weird game where normally you lose speed whenever you ascend while flying in this game in most Sonic games, but in that's not the case in this game though. If you can just keep all of Sonic the boost mode speed. And this is actually Act 1 that he's doing last. Primarily because of the special key locations again. Guarantee getting one of them after the last Chow, regardless of which of the 2 patterns you get. And don't forget to get the jump off one of the slides to get the last Chow. He asked me to remind him that. I don't blame him. Yeah, so that's the last Chow. Just have to get the special key. Ideally, he just keeps going right and up, but he wants to make sure to guarantee getting a special key. Regardless, so he's taking a route here where he can get a special key no matter which of the 2 patterns he gets. And now we're pretty much back on an 80% route, so just yeet to the end.
Okay, so this is the 4th special stage, Green Emerald. You can see it's here, like, it's gonna be hard. I don't remember if we mentioned the enemies, but if you defeat them, they give you 5 rings. Sometimes they attack, so yeah, it's also worth like trying to defeat some enemies to get extra rings in case, and for safety as well. But you don't need them to get all the emeralds, all the rings necessary for the emeralds. The special stage are around the 2 minutes mark each, so they're fixed to everything. It feels longer sometimes because there's a lot of stuff happening and you need to pay a lot of attention. So, but no, they are the same length. And yeah, with that, it's a total of 4 emeralds right now. For this, we're gonna go to the boss. Annoying boss. Actually, really annoying boss.
Yeah, this boss is kind of not great. So this is a very random boss, for all the wrong reasons. And I'll go ahead and explain it now. So boss has one of 3 attack patterns every time you hit it, which is the first and fastest one is Jack in the Box, which is about a 4.5 to 5 second animation. That's the best pattern you want, and the chance of it goes down with every single hit until it becomes literally impossible in later hits. The second pattern is the Ball and Chain, which is slow, but it's a 10-second animation. So optimally, you start getting that once the Jack in the Box becomes impossible. And the worst pattern is the Missile pattern, which is about a 12-second animation, and you want to see as few of those as possible. But ultimately, this is all just tedious luck. You can't really do anything about it except just hope for decent luck. You can lose like up to 40-50 seconds from this boss, and it's pretty miserable. But he did a demonstration of all 3 patterns here, so, you know, you get to see how terrible the Missile pattern is. Good job.
Yeah, but yeah, instead of like a number of hits, we have to push the box into the right to make Eggman fall to his doom. So yeah, this should be the last hit. So instead of actually spin dashing to the right, I'm gonna spin dash to the left. And don't worry about it, but this will look scary. Yeah. The main reason to do a spin dash to the left, we instantly gain control when Eggman is out of the screen. So if he's not on the screen, we actually instantly gain control.
This is something that only really works on the North American version. You don't get control as quickly back in the Japanese and the European version of this game. Nacho mentioned that he's playing in Japanese. He's playing, I believe you're playing the North American version with Japanese text, because thankfully you can change the text. You can change the text to any available language in any version.
Yep, Japanese
But
Japanese
bosses are.
Yeah, sorry, go on.
Your bosses are generally faster in the North American version, but there are perks to using the Japanese or PAL version as well, including a little bit more air mobility based off of your rings, which helps in those stages. Which one's faster? You just use whichever one you prefer, no one cares.
Yeah. And the Japanese text is for the child, since we have like this. The text box says Japanese text, less amount of letters, a bit faster.
The usual of video games being silly and using unskippable, really slow text, scrolling text, character by character, which a lot of games still do to this day for whatever reason. But this game has the excuse of being an older game, so I can overlook it. But yeah, the first 3 Chow are like all in the first like third of the stage, so Nacho's kind of making a bit of a detour to work around that. And then there's one more Chow halfway through the stage that's pretty well hidden. And then that's going to be all 4 of them. The 5th Chow, which is the 5th Chow he's gonna get, is in the hub right before entering Act 2, so that's convenient.
Okay, so for Act 2, there is an optimal road. It requires like insane amount of precision. Kirby knows how to do it because he's the god, of course, but I'm not confident enough to do it, so I will just use this route that is basically glitchless.
Yeah, this stage is a kind of a giant, another maze-like stage, a little bit more horizontally oriented, so Tails and Sonic works pretty well. And this stage has a lot of like forced underwater segments. It takes like a minute and 50 optimally to do it, get all the Chow and bounds. It's actually a pretty rough stage to get them all. There is a route, there is a fun little path swapper glitch you can use though, where if you hammer a spring in either side of the stage, for whatever reason, there's like 2 sets of path swappers right above it, and if you hammer the spring, you skip one of them, and thus pretty much just get on the wrong room layer of the game, which is only possible if you have Amy as your lead character. And by doing that glitch, you can use Sonic's tag action, basically just run across the water in the foreground. But doing the glitch itself is not hard to do, but getting the Chow while doing it is really difficult to do, and I do not blame Nacho for not going for it, because it's a pretty huge run killer. And it's very sketchy. But it saves over 1 minute, which is the main reason why like an optimal route would use Amy and Sonic for the majority of Toy Kingdom and Ice Paradise. Because you want Sonic's tag action, but you also need your ability to hammer to do the glitch in the stage. Without the glitch, though, Tails Sonic is the faster team overall for pretty much this entire zone.
Okay, I'm completely screwing up my road. I completely forgot to do something, so this is improvisation. You love improvisation in the middle of the run, right? So yeah, I don't know exactly where I'm going, I'm just going. Okay, I took a day. Hopefully I will get a checkpoint. Yeah, sorry, this exact moment I completely screwed up my road.
If you haven't done this, you should get a bubble. You should get a bubble if you haven't done this route. You're dead. You'll need to get a bubble on this route. So.
Okay, so ideally with this thing you go for the top route and then you just have to like go bottom twice and that's it. I had a big meltdown for failing a jump and not being able to recover myself from that, so I just went try to went the best I could.
Tails is casually flying over the first quarter of the stage. No big deal. Yeah, this is the last stage, and thus we do need to get the remaining Chow. The last Chow is at the very end of the stage, but unfortunately, there's only only one of the special key sets actually gives you a special key after the Chow. Meaning, we pretty much have to go for a 50-50. There's just no other option for this. And if we get the wrong pattern, we have to take a death and try again.
Yeah, sorry, I was trying to get the 1-up because I will need it for the boss of the stage that is really, really annoying. Probably the hardest boss in the entire Sonic franchise. Because it's above a bottomless pit and you have to jump between platforms to, to do damage. So, yeah, game design. I like that boss with the correct team, but Sonic and Tails is not the best team for that one.
So there is conveniently a snowman we can death abuse off of if we don't get the special key, because it's right up the intended location is supposed to be right above the snowman. So just have to keep taking a death until it spawns up there. There's just no other options. I have looked into trying Act 1 or 2 last to mitigate this, but those are also equally as bad.
Okay, I got twice. Okay. Okay. Hopefully I didn't miss the Chow and not get it. Okay. I guess I missed the Chow. I guess I missed the
Did you
Chow.
get the text saying it was 10?
I don't remember. Ugh. It's going to hurt. Because if not, I will just have to exit the stage and...
You should just finish the stage off anyways.
Yeah, and we'll have to do it again. Yeah, if the keys will not appear again, I just assume that I completely missed the Chow. Okay, there it is. I just got really bad luck. I just got it three in a row is not
too unlucky.
350 in a row. No, it was 3. I don't know, but yeah, I just got
3 in a row.
Yeah,
1/8 chance. It happens.
Yeah, that's really bad luck for me.
I play Fire Emblem, so 1/8 in the chance is not unlucky. And then that just happens sometimes. You just get quote unlucky, but it happens occasionally, which is unfortunate, but oh well. So this is a boss where you're kind of constantly jumping back and forth on platforms. That Nacho already mentioned it, and you have to drop platforms on Eggman to damage him. Platform physics can be kind of janky, and this team works, but it's not a fantastic team because it's not. You usually want teams that can give you vertical mobility in case you miss a jump or something, and this team is not that. Especially since like Tails' flight can like make you not land on a platform properly, so you really want to avoid flying if you can help it. Oh, that was relatively clean. Take those. But yeah, also, Nacho did not get the Chaos Emerald, and that's intentional. He's going to be doing it post-game, actually. Because the Special Spring, the location of the Emerald is at the very start of the hub for Twinkle Snow, and that is, after Act 3, it is really out of the way. So we're better off putting it off for later, and then getting it in post-game, when we're just going through the hub navigation. So we're back to Sonic and Tails, which, for similar reasons to before, we're gonna unlock Cream. To do that, we need to beat Act 3. We need to beat Act 3 with Sonic as the lead character. Thankfully, this is one of the best teams for this stage anyways, so Nacho is using a exploit here where you're supposed to enter these pinball machines from their entrance, but when you use Tails' tag action in the air, he actually shoves the main character's hitbox down. And you can use that to enter any of these pinball machines from above, even if it's not intended. So we can skip a small chunk of the stage with that exploit there. Yeah. Again, also, similarly to how like every Sonic game has to have a casino-like zone, every Sonic game also has a gravity zone because, you know, gimmicks. So, and this Cybertrack is that zone. I think you intended to mute your mic. Yep, we're just gonna see another we saw another one of those exploits to shove Sonic into the pinball machine from the top, or rather upside down, on the bottom, and skip another portion of the stage. And then this is the last part of the stage before the general fight, where you're supposed to go back and forth between two flying platforms. Back and forth, but it's gonna attempt to skip all of that by using Tails' attack actions. And then, yep, here's the last time. That's the last time we're gonna see the shove the main character into the pinball machine the wrong way. And then the General fight, which is a lot more involved now because General can start flying around and use firing missiles and stuff, which we don't want to see that. So if we get a good pattern here, General just dies. Unfortunately, you saw the missile pattern where you can see why it's really slow. Not much you can do about it. Thankfully, it's easy mode, so we only have to take 2 hits instead of dealing with that pattern 3 times in a row. Because luck. So, unlocked Cream, did a reset to skip the Cream cutscene, and then swapping to, I'm guessing, Amy Sonic? Oh, Knuckle Sonic, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So this is one of those stages where the gameplay difference between the North American and the Japanese/European version matters, because there is a Chow in this stage that is blocked off by power barriers. And again, to destroy power barriers, you need Knuckles on your team. However, in the Japanese and European version, the right power barrier, so the exit, is not a power barrier for whatever reason. Why? I don't know. Nobody understands localization changes back in the day. It's weird. So the North American version has to do an extra team swap to switch to Knuckles and Sonic to get this Chow, whereas the other version of the game has the option to not use Knuckles Sonic, instead use Amy Sonic, which is preferred, and break the barrier from behind. So the Chow you just saw him get is that Chow. Getting up here backwards is really inconsistent and annoying, and it doesn't save too much time though. So like personally, I stick to the North American version because it's a really unreliable skip to try to do to take advantage of that. But yeah, Act 1's pretty straightforward. The Chow are in mostly convenient locations, so just blitzing to the end. And there is a Hub Chow here, so he's going to go ahead and grab it before doing Act 2. And Act 2 is the last act he's going to do before getting a special key. But for now, he's doing a team swap here because reading the text after getting a Chow is slow, and the game saves getting the Chow before the text shows up. So it's actually kind of convenient to do a reset as an excuse to team swap. So yeah, with the route Nacho is using, he used Knuckles and Sonic just for Act 1, and then he immediately switched to Amy and Sonic. And Amy and Sonic is a really good team. She doesn't have the ability to fly, but she has some other really notable advantages. The main one being her ability to hammer stuff, and in the Sonic Advance games, or at least Sonic Advance 1 and 2, hammering springs gives you double speed, which is really useful. And the other ability she gets when paired with Sonic is that she gets the ability to air dash, which is pretty minor, but it gives her a really nice way to control her horizontal speed. And also accelerate on the ledge. And this is like pretty much the best team, like one of the best teams for a late game, Chaos Angel, because Chaos Angel has a lot of big open spaces where you want vertical mobility and horizontal, but there's also just a lot of springs that you get advantage of that. This act is not one of those acts, but Tails Sonic doesn't really offer any advantages in the stage. As long as so like we might as well just stick to Amy Sonic for the stage, and then for going into Chaos Angel, the last zone. Yeah, Nacho took like a lower route at near the end. It is slower, but it guarantees a special key location. Because one of the two patterns puts a special key down there, and if you blitz straight to the end, you can miss it and just lose time. You kind of don't want.
Yeah, and now time for the 6th special stage. Actually, the number 5 because we skipped one. So we're supposed to see like how the difficulty group is like going to appear more of those spike balls, more enemies that attack, and the tight pattern of the ring is going to be harder. So yeah, just that. So if the host has any message, any donations to read, any promotion of the channel, it's a good time for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's pretty appropriate at this stage in the game. You know, we've only got a couple of hours left of the event, but we do in fact, if I just put incentive into chat, if I can remember how that works, someone will figure that out. Basically, we do still have a goal that requires doing, and that is to get us to $1,000. We are at $770 currently raised for this event, which is still a fantastic amount. But chat, I believe in you, so can we get one final push to try and get us to our goal? That would be absolutely fantastic. I would be so proud of us because it's for such a good goal. And I believe that if any community can do it, it's the Sonic Adventure era community. So get it done, people. You've been challenged. The gauntlet is down. With that, back to the run.
Okay, I got pretty scared because I always forgot like when I'm not the amount of rings when like fast enough. I think like, oh no, the special stage is gonna end, but I forgot the special stage is kinda long. You know, those 2 minutes of going in a tornado. But yeah, Emerald number 6 with Amy. Basically, we got to get at least one emerald with every character, except for Cream. That's so sad because Cream is a really good character in general. Now time for another annoying boss. All the final bosses on this game, like from the Zone 5 to 7, are annoying. So yeah, Amy and Sonic, I'm going to stick with this team until Chaos Angel. For this boss, I try to focus.
And this boss is kind of a mess because it's kind of a pinball boss where you have to bounce the balls back at him to hurt him. And this boss is kind of a mess. The first 2 or 3 hits you can get pretty consistently with the setup, but after that, there's technically not any luck to this boss, but the hitboxes are so precise and janky that they're basically random. So you just have to hope that you hit the balls at the right trajectories to hit him back after the first few hits. And Amy Sonic is by far the most optimal team because Hammer is nice as an option. On top of that, you kind of want Amy as your lead character because you don't want your partner hitting the balls at a bad time. And when a character is paired with Amy, they don't spin jump, which is very good because it means Sonic cannot accidentally hit the ball at a bad time when you don't want him to.
I got the zero
You
rings.
really want Amy and Sonic because you want Sonic's tag to enter and exit the fight, and you want Sonic to not screw around by being able to ball.
And I got zero rings, and the balls, of course, do damage. Like even when they bounce back, anything does damage. And this is the check if this is primarily the check if you are going to get the 100% of the game or not. Because this fight could take around 1.5 minutes, probably 1 minute, best case scenario, or 5 minutes. For example, right now probably I'm going to take like my good 9 minutes, and the estimate is going to be completely crushed by me going over it. So yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen. Okay, there it is. That was really scary. 0 rings, and it was the last hit, and the last hit of this boss. Eggman becomes really crazy with the shots of the balls. This boss is really anxiety inducing. 150. That's meh, but I managed to get through it alive. Okay, and time for the huge difficulty peak of the game. Chess Angel. Chess Angel is like the hardest zone in the entire game. It has a lot of bottomless pits, it has a lot of enemies, it has a lot of hazards that are going to try to stop us. So yeah, Amy and Sonic is the team we're going to be using right now. The tag jump timing here is going to be ridiculously precise to get like a decent one. Also, for this stage, of course, ideally I don't lose rings because there is a tiny shortcut I can get if I have enough rings. Of course, air mobility with rings, that's a gimmick that they never explain you, not even in the instruction manual. But it happens, and I got 1 ring, okay. And I lost all my rings. This is going to be really fun. Okay, so there is a jump I should be supposed to do. Okay, I did it. And yeah, right now you can see that Hammer Spring gives me a node height to escape some stuff. Okay, I'm having a time here. Oops. Okay.
You're seeing a lot of scenarios where like Amy's hammer is really nice for those big hits.
I'm falling all the tax jumps. My hands are sweaty right now. Okay, there it is. Okay. Oops. Okay, I took a death. Probably after this stage, I'm gonna soft reset to refresh my life counts, and I didn't take a checkpoint, so I think it's better to soft reset now. I have 0 lives, and you get the game over message, and it's slow, and also makes you go back to the normal game. So I'm gonna try again, since I will take advantage of me not having any checkpoints, except for the fact that I already collected some chow, so that's going to save me a little bit of time. And yeah, you can see how difficult this zone is, and probably because of this I'm going to get overestimate. Yeah, so sorry for that. Like we have yesterday me having barely getting underestimate by 7 seconds. Now I will probably get overestimate. Yep. Okay. Okay, mouse hammer sprint, you already saw this zone, this segment, just jump, attack jump, and take the spring. Yeah, taking the spring and doing attack jump allows you to skip this platform section that is annoying because there is a pussy beetle there. Anything that shoots to you are any kind of enemies that actually shoots at you is annoying because they can snipe you. Okay, I didn't want to go there. Platform, I want to go to the top row because there is a chow there. On this zone, like the chow are really apart from each other, and that's completely fine because the levels are really huge. Okay, right now a platforming section. I'm going to take very careful here. Okay, there's the second chow. And I need to attack him out. There it is.
General rule of thumb in Chaos Angel is if you're outdoors, you're over a bottomless pit. So want to be a little careful around these areas. This last route kind of requires going around this little room over and over again. Because it's a one-way path that takes us straight back to the upper left corner of this area we're in. So you kind of just have to do a little loop-de-loop to get this. Other nice property of Amy is most barriers take 4 hits to destroy. Amy's hammer requires only 2, so that's definitely nice. Minor, but you take those.
Okay, that last part is really scary. I'm really nervous always on that section. Yeah, because of course you're about bottomless pit, but it's also the last part of the level. And Act 2, everything in this zone, like all of 3 acts for me are run killers. They're really hard, and Act 2 is not the exception for it. Act 2 is probably the longest stage in the entire game because it features 4 chow and a lot of bottomless pits. Yeah, that's the first one. There's okay, so the base for this zone is this is basically the end game, and we're supposed to be on Angel Island, but since the plot point of this game is like Eggman just shattered the world with a chaos control. And we need to stop him because he's Eggman, and Eggman do really bad stuff everywhere, every time. Yeah, this is also another stage where having rings as good, not only to get lives, but there's a section there that you cannot make it very well, like if you don't have rings. And
Rings affect your air mobility, air acceleration in this game. It usually doesn't really matter much, but it is kind of nice to have rings in some spaces for flexibility.
Yeah, like it's a tiny time save because of course there is a backup. You love to see backups in everything. But it's faster and it's comfortable to go for it. Okay, outdoors, you know what Kirby say. If you are outside the level, there is bottomless speed, so you need to be very careful. So there is another Chao right here on this section. You just need to go up and then go down. Yeah, as always on like the matter of game design, the last zone is to prove you like you actually mastered all the gimmicks the game has to offer. You know, like the part, and of course having different partners is very good. Like you can go for this with any partner that you like you're comfortable with it. But of course we're taking the fast road, so yeah, Amy and Sonic. And I lost all my rings. That's really cool. I'm not going to be able to do the jump later on, but I'm gonna try. This is the last Chao of the level. I'm going to take the Magnet Shield because it's more a shield that I really love line. Really fun. Okay, I actually made the jump, so if you made the jump, you just go straight like into the goal, and you need to jump twice, and that's it. And I'm going to grab the last hoop Chao and start preparing myself for the last stage of the game. It's the hardest one in my opinion. In opinion of a speedrun, of course. And I'm going to use the last team for... No, please not. Use the last team for this special stage. For the special stage, for this normal stage. Use Amy and Tails. We'll explain why we use this team.
Yeah, so Tails Amy is a really... when Tails is paired with Amy, he has way more speed and acceleration when he flies, but his flight only lasts about 4 seconds. And also we'll also see Amy's tag action for the first time, but we'll get into that in a bit. This is a stage where there are 3 autoscrollers, so that's cool. But this is the fastest team in the game for skipping all 3 autoscrollers, so if you are an autoscroller lover, I apologize.
Yep, this is why it's the hardest one. It's just the first jump I need to make. And it's really hard to get the proper time into it.
I think you're trying to do a really hard version. I'm not sure.
No, I'm like trying to land into a side of
You're doing the much harder version, which you want to fly lower at the start if you want a consistent version.
Yeah,
but
okay.
I don't think you're used to that, so. Wait, Amy's tag action is also vertically oriented, which is pretty cool. So when she uses her tag action, which you'll see for the second autoscroller skip, she'll yeet the lead character straight up. But she can also do this in the air, while Tails' tag action in the air carries the lead character, which is a lot slower and less flexible. A little bit more flexible, but a lot less. It gives way less height, and it's a lot slower.
I have some like save states for in case that this thing is going to take so long, and I'm pretty sure like I'm gonna have to use them. But yeah, just to keep the marathon ongoing. So yeah, this is. I'm going to give you like a couple of tries. If not, I will just start using my save states to don't make this long. That's the last chow on the entire run, and we have the 50-50, and also we have checkpoint, a nice checkpoint there. Okay, I have to land this jump here. Didn't. Okay, so okay, third is the charm. They say I got this third try, and I'm glad I got to showcase this one because it's my favorite. It's one of my favorite pieces of movement demonstration on this game. Like being able to just escape auto score like that, and I'm going to that suffer set. Because this team is annoying for the last boss of the game, for the last boss of the for the boss of the zone. So I'm going to use Sonic for the first time in a while. As leader, I'm going to use Cream.
Oh, so you're doing Sonic Cream?
Yeah, because I'm actually comfortable with doing this because I just got used to it. Yeah, because actually I was pretty smart earlier on and I didn't practice Knuckles and Cream. Yeah, any character paired with Cream will gain access to cheese. Like, literally cheese.
Yeah, so Cream's tag action both on the ground and the air gives you control of cheese, which is, yeah, like that. And this boss is extremely volatile and random, so I don't blame Nacho at all for switching over to a Cream-based team for this boss, because it's incredibly volatile and unreliable. And the physics are just incredibly janky.
And there it is. This should be the last boss on the game. Kinda. And since I'm far right away, they're going to take their time. their time to disappear. But there it is. And this is not the end. This is not the end at all of the game. We still have one more boss to catch up. It's the Altar Emerald boss. One extra fight with Gemmer. Okay. But this team is actually not only oriented to Chess Angel boss. It's actually more oriented to Altar Emerald boss. We want some vertical mobility for this boss. And I'm getting bad patterns. Come on, dude. Just thank you. Oh yeah, one thing also our characters gain with... Well, most of the characters gain with Cream, and they gain a homing attack. You never see that.
Yeah, Cream Knuckles also gets a homing attack if he's paired with Cream. Pretty cool.
Yep. This is the Altar Emerald boss. We have to find a way to hit Eggman, and this way is just jumping.
Yeah,
Cream.
Cream's tag action in the air amplifies your vertical velocity. So meaning if you use it as you jump, you get a lot of height. If if you use it at the peak of your jump, you get minimal height. Both are useful, but in this case, it's a really fast way to hit Eggman. And the other reason why it's also really good is because unlike Amy and Tails' tag actions, you get to target tag action immediately after using this. So you get to do a lot of rapid jumps like this with Cream's air tag action and just slaughter this boss. It was just a lot faster than Cream because Cheese, because firing Cheese can be unreliable.
Yep. Since we don't have all the Chaos Emeralds, and also we didn't beat the game earlier, we don't have access to the final zone, and we have to watch 4 minutes of credits. But I need to ask how I'm on time to my host. Like, what is my current time right now?
What time is you at about? Currently at about 1 minute 28 and a half. 1 minute, 1 hour 28 and a half.
Okay, 1 hour 28, and the special stage credits 4 minutes, 2 minutes of special stage. Yeah, I think I'm probably fine. I can't do math right now. But what do you say, Kirby? Like, I'm fine because I was thinking of fast forwarding the credits.
You might as well. It's not like you're trying to PB, so might as well fast forward.
Yeah, I will fast forward the credits. Yeah, I will fast forward the credits because since we started a little bit late, I will just do that. But yeah, after watching the credits, we set up a flag that we actually beat the game, and we started.
Yeah, so to
okay. Yeah, and we start with. Yeah, you explain.
Yeah, so the best ending has several requirements to access. So we need to, in order to access True Area 53, we need to beat Alter Emerald after having seen the Collect the Chaos Emeralds cutscene, which is only possible by beating the game. So we have to inherently beat the game one extra time to access the best ending. So the flag that Nacho mentioned is going to happen right after the credits, where we have to see the Eggman showing the Collect the Chaos Emeralds, and that sets a flag that allows you to access the true ending. So you have to have that flag set, you have to collect all 7 Chaos Emeralds, you have to have all 5 characters, and then beat Alter Emerald with Sonic as the lead character. By doing that, then you'll access True Area 53 after the second time you beat Alter Emerald with Sonic as the lead. So Nacho is going to go back to using Sonic and Cream, which in this case is the optimal team because we still need to collect 1 Chaos Emerald, which is the one in Twinkle Snow, which we delayed because it's at the very start of the hub, and yeah. This works similarly to Sonic Advance 2, actually, because Sonic Advance 2 also requires seeing that same cutscene.
Yeah, but at least you had to watch it once. So yeah.
You only have to watch, in Sonic Advance 2, you only have to watch the Collect Chaos Emerald cutscene once. It's basically the same kind of flag. But you do have to beat the game with every character.
Yeah, that's I know you don't have to. Yeah, I think okay, so basically right now you know all the adventure era games like have a current gimmick of you need to beat the game multiple times to actually unlock the true ending of the game. This is the adventure era thing on this game. We already beat the game, so we need to do it again.
Thankfully, this game doesn't like track separate stories or anything like that. It's just all one singular story. So
yeah,
we don't have to beat it like 4 times, like Sonic Advance 1 or 2,
or even Sonic Rush.
Yeah. Although it's only 2 characters, it's not too bad, but
it's not too bad. But you still have like this special stages thing with Sonic and auto-scrollers.
Yeah, like in Sonic Advance 1, to get the best ending, you have to beat the game with all 4 characters. The Chaos Emeralds are shared in Sonic Advance 1, so you have to just beat the game with all 4 characters, then beat X Zone with Sonic with all 7 Chaos Emeralds, and then you'll access the Moon Zone. Sonic Advance 2, you have to beat it with Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Cream. See the Emerald cutscene at the end, so you only have to watch the credits once, thankfully. And you have to have all the Chaos Emeralds with Sonic, specifically.
Yeah.
Chaos Emeralds and the other characters do not matter in Sonic Advance 2.
Unless you want to get the 100%. Unless you want to get the 100%, but nobody wants that because collecting the emeralds on those games is kinda a pain.
There's a reason why we don't use percentage counters.
Yep.
For these categories. there's a very good reason why we don't use percentage counters.
Yep.
Because if you wanted to have a 100% speedrun on this game, you would have to define it as collect the bronze, the silver, and gold medal in every stage, every boss. Because the game tracks that.
I mean, the game tracks
3 times.
the game tracks that, but bronze and silver medals don't actually matter to unlock stuff. So it's basically collect.
Unlocking the game tracks it. Yeah.
Yeah. So you only need to get gold medals. So that's to unlock all the content. For example,
But the gold medals don't matter. They don't matter for any content at all. Period.
I believe like if you unlock the bosses, the boss's time attack,
No.
the boss's time attack. So yeah, final stage. This stage is really hard. Like
If
it's
I remember correctly, it says beat non-aggression, but I could be remembering wrong. I don't think you need. Maybe you do. I don't remember. Might be right on that.
yeah, I believe like you unlock the sound test and the sound test and yeah, you unlock the sound test, the boss time attack, and
Someone
and
will
the thing.
Google it. It'll be there. But yeah, if you wanted to do a 100% speedrun, you would define it. You would have to beat every stage a minimum of 3 times. And also, wait at the end of each stage at least twice to get the bronze and the silver medals. They don't unlock anything, but they are tracked. And yeah, that's why we don't use percentage counters for these categories.
Okay, so as a funny thing also, on the advanced games, you know this thing like the cartridge with the internal battery, they do funny thing when the internal battery is completely dead. They actually unlock all the content. They can give you the 100% of every game.
I know that's a thing for Sonic Advance 2. Is that a thing for 3 as well?
Yeah, that actually was my first interaction with the special stage, like having the game with no internal battery. But we completed all the special stages. We also unlocked.
GG.
We also unlocked one thing that is the special stage challenge, where we have access to. We have to do all special stages back to back, and that's kind of fun actually. If you want to practice the special stages for the run, that you can. If you are interested in learning this run, I made a cool guide where all the routes are tracked for best ending and all the stages. So yeah, this game is really accessible with that route. Hey, going for the second round on Altar Emerald, and we're going to see a little bit of different things after we defeat Eggman. Of course, going to cheese the boss at the exact same time as last time. To stand in the center, you scream to jump. 4, 5, wait for the cycle, and 6, and just wait. 36 seconds, that was really good. Okay, we have all the emeralds, we unlocked all the characters, we beat the games once. So we unlock a new secret special cutscene. We're going to pay for this, and we're gonna see why. Oh no, Gemmer just decided to use the power of the Chaos Emerald and transform into... I don't have a name for this, I don't remember if there is a name for this. Is there a name for this? For this transformation?
Non-aggression.
No, it's the song name, but like the actual name of the boss.
It's non-aggression, I believe.
Yeah. Okay. And now we have to see the exclusive theme for the last stage, for the last boss. We're gonna use Super Sonic and Eggman.
Yeah, this boss is kind of a mess because it's very luck-based. But we get to use Eggman's tag action, which he basically fires Eggman into Super General for non-aggression and opens up the weak point. The longer you charge Eggman, the longer the weak point stays open. Ideally, we want to finish this boss before it fires a giant laser beam, but that is random because at the start, it's gonna shoot its arm randomly between 1 to 5 times, and we want it to shoot as many times as possible to delay the big beam attack. After that, he's gonna shoot out 2 arms, fire missiles. That's an opportunity to get some extra hits. And then fire the arms between 1 to 5 times again, randomly. And then it'll shoot the giant laser. So we really want to finish the boss before the giant laser.
I got a really good pattern because I got like that.
That's a pretty good pattern.
But I'm completely screwing everything up.
Sonic's hitbox is a lot bigger than it seems, so it's hard. It takes a while to figure out how to avoid those missiles.
Okay, so this is the big laser attack. It gives you enough time to charge Eggman to the max. And I believe that's all time.
GG. Fun game.
Fun game. Actually, I have like this weird thing on myself with this game. It's one of my favorite 2D games because all the things you can do, you can pair any character with any character you want and you will get a completely new move set, and that's something I really enjoy. Like, oh, I gonna bait this stage but using Tails and Amy, and that's cool. You can use like anything, just basically like Knuckles Chaotix but in modern Sonic standard.
Yeah, like this category showcases like six or seven different teams, but that only really touches the tip of the iceberg with how much diversity there is. Like you can spin dash up walls in this game.
Yeah.
Knuckles and Amy, for example, and that's one of the coolest mechanics. But unfortunately, you just will never see that in a full game run because it requires unlocking both of them.
Yeah.
But that is something you can see in ILs or other categories.
Yeah, but still, it is a really cool thing because at least on Best Ending you can actually use all the characters, not all the teams, all the possible teams, but you can use all the characters in some way.
Alright, fantastic stuff. Thank you very much, Nacho. If either of you have any shoutouts to give, now would be a fantastic time to do so.
Yeah, shoutouts to Kirby. Most of the routing you saw there, it's based on Kirby's PB. I believe it's world record right now. It is.
Yeah, it's really outdated. It's still on normal mode.
Yeah, but yeah, it's based on.
That is so outdated. Someone needs to beat it. I need to go back and improve it.
It's based on the world record run, except for of course Twinkle Snow. But that was also cool because Kirby was really supported. Like, oh, you can try this and this. Yeah, you don't like that. Like, talking with him about how beating this game was really fun. Tracking the road. Also, when I was making the map roads, I was asking Kirby if this seems correct, and he answers like, "Oh, you want to do this, then do that." So yeah, shout out to Kirby.
I probably know too much about this game.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, shout out to Nacho for also just picking up this game. Advanced skatings are pretty fun, and yep, not many runners, but we do have resources and we're around. So. Yep.
Alright. Nacho, if people want to see more of your runs, where would be the best place to go and do that?
Yeah, you don't want to follow me on Twitch. Actually, you want to better find me on YouTube because sometimes there I will just upload IELTS run or full game runs if I can. So yeah, right now before this event I was learning new games because I want to present new games. So yeah, I'm Nacho and I will see you on the next adventure.
Alright, and Kirby, if people want to hear more of your commentary, where can people go for that?
I stream